I just met your beautiful baby daughter this morning, and her name is Olive. Why did you name her after a color?
There's actually well, many reasons. Well, when my wife and I were dating in the beginning, I wasn't saying I love you for a while. So, and I was, one of the things is if you remember the whole idea of like, if you whisper olive juice, or in my case, I thought it was olive oil. So I used to, for like the first year or so, I would say like olive oil because it looks like you're saying I love you from a distance.
I've never heard that before.
So then Olive, we kind of used the name Olive, and then we ended up going to this little town in Italy called Olivetta, and then we had talked about just Olive, and we had known even before she got pregnant that if we ever had a daughter, it would be named Olive.
Hi, I'm Molly Barnes. I found an ad in the New York Times 23 years ago advertising spiritualists with college education wanted to run hotel art program, and I came here. I got the job at the Roger Smith Hotel. Recently, the hotel has always shown art, but recently they've been showing young sculptors, young artists, people who have not yet got galleries, but we consider to be real winners. Tonight, I am interviewing Guy Nelson. Guy is an artist who's lived in New York, actually in Brooklyn, for quite a few years, from where he grew up, which was in Fargo. So, without further ado, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Tell me about what it was like growing up in Fargo and then coming to this community. You've taken a lot of the ideas of nature and brought them into the world here.
That's right. Well, Fargo is actually has a lot going on for where it's located, and they do have a little bit of an art scene, music scene, things like that. So some of the things of what I say the natural world, I spent a lot of time in the woods, things like that. These are things that I do continue to reference today in my work. So I definitely think about the time I did spend in the Midwest, and it is something I still go back to.
What were your mother and father like? Did they approve of you becoming an artist? I know your dad was an outdoorsman who liked to shoot deer and was very involved in the outdoors.
Yep. No, they were both supportive of my decision to go into the arts. That's true.
Tell me about the licorice you found in your father and mother's house.
Well, when I was going to college, I went to my parents' house, and it was downstairs, and there was boxes and boxes and boxes. I think they're about 40-pound boxes of licorice stacked up pretty tall. And I had no idea what was going on. And
did you think they were candy addicts?
No, I knew they were candy. I didn't know. I knew it was my dad, so I asked him when he got home, and he said that he went to a candy factory, and they were like the defect licorice, and then he bought them for like 50 cents a box, and yeah, he was going to use it. It's a baiting strategy for hunters and bears. So.
Now you have a piece that you're showing here at the Roger Smith Hotel, and it's made of resin and wood, and it's like almost childlike. Could you describe it?
Yep. Well, the piece here is rubber and gum. It's the bricks. And
called tower.
I don't necessarily have a name for it right now, but I see it as like a tower, also like a swarm, as these things kind of look like they're moving together. They are cast rubber and gumball bricks, and then I've stacked them into a shape that looks like a chimney or a tower. And it is very playful, so that comes off with the materials.
When I came into the art world, it was very important to be a part of a scene. For example, the surrealists in Paris, here the abstract expressionists, the pop artists. How would you describe your work? You've been described as a brutalist.
Yeah, so brutalism, really quick, is a reference to at the point architecture, and then in this case artists that let materials speak for themselves. So, if it's concrete, it is left alone as concrete. In my case, it was resin, it was wood, these very heavy materials that I didn't change much, with the exception of just putting them together.
Was it a shock when you moved here? Did you find an attitude? Did you find a cynicism in the art world that you didn't know about before?
I'd have to say, originally coming out here with not knowing too many people, there's the experience that I think most people have, and that is just not knowing where to start. There's, if you don't really have an in, or if you don't know someone going into a gallery, I mean, there's the research that has to be done. I mean, because as an artist, we want to figure out where the best fit may be and who's out there. So there's that initial, I don't want to say shock, but there's that initial homework that needs to be done, and that it takes time.
What's in the future for you? What are you looking forward to, or what direction are you going to go?
Well, right now I am finishing up on some new pieces. One of the larger pieces I've done actually in with liquid plastics.
Yeah.
So, and then I have a show coming up in Brooklyn in, I believe, March 2nd.
Yeah.
A group show. So
one of the pieces that you actually showed me had a part of a deer in it, and I understand you're using a deer as an image in your next show.
Right. There's been a few pieces, not too many.
I mean, this is a deer leg. This isn't just a drawing of a deer.
This is a deer leg. Yep. It's just the lower half,
yeah.
or the lower like 12 inches. So it's the hoof and then some. But yeah, there's over the years I have randomly or by choice used some of these pieces because it is very heavy imagery from where I'm from, so it's nothing I'm afraid of, but it's only so many pieces that I'll actually use. I won't do too many of them, but yes, I do have a show coming up where there is another deer piece. It seems like people overall respond to it in a positive way.
Biggest influences when you were growing up, some of the artists. You said that when you were a kid, you actually were drawing very conservative fish or ducks.
Well, yeah, that's pretty standard from where that neck of the woods.
Yeah.
You know, drawing animals. That was yes. And then naturally, when you go into art school, I didn't have any intentions on really drawing animals at that point. But yeah, influence. As you said, influence.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You know, I think early on, I mean, it's natural. I feel like Andy Warhol was.
Really? Why?
Why? You know. All the reasons, you know, him as a person. I remember seeing, you know, the first like documentaries on him when I was pretty young, or I mean, I'd have to say like after high school, and it was just, you know, I just found him as a character fascinating, and so.
One of the things he did do, he went right after celebrities to document his existence, using them as his subjects, but also he made it apparent that anything that we look at is worthy of being called art. The same thing Duchamp did in his age, but I was saying the soup cans are worthwhile and should be dignified, and also the terrible crashes and the death of John F. Kennedy. Anything that happened in his century, he felt was worthy of showing. Who else? Anybody else influence you?
I like Jim Hodges.
Why?
Because his use of material.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I love my materials, and he goes at it with. I mean, if he wants to do glass, mirror, rock, whatever it is, he's gonna do it. So as a whole, I'd have to say I have influence from the environments. New York City is one, and then I see a lot of art. So I might not directly, you know, think of a specific artist, but just by being around this much art, seeing this much art, there's always that continual interest and response to what's going on.
I'm addicted to art. It's my spiritual vehicle, and I believe that artists are the poets of the future. I believe you're the people that work in ivory towers alone, not joining clubs, so that you create what you think is something that will really change people's lives.
All right, that's well said.
Well, thank you. Can you elaborate?
Well, I do, you know, it's one of those things. I mean, we artists put ourselves through a lot, and a lot of time, you know, alone behind closed doors, and we hope for the best. I mean, as far as outcome and what we could do with it and where we go. So I'm always staying positive, and I'm always getting work done.